Financial report, our budget discussion. We have the budget before us. Obviously, we can't vote on it this evening. Are there any comments from the commissioners? I would like to address one thing specifically, and that is the the potential increase from the minimum wage, and how the commissioners feel about increasing the salaries, and should it apply to other than the minimum wage workers that we have now. There are several options that are listed on page 31 of the packet in terms of a pro forma payroll. And I suppose we can hold the discussion till next month, but perhaps we should look at it preliminarily, and see if how the commissioners feel.
No, I'm glad you raised it, Supervisor, and I think if we're going to raise the expenditures, we need to raise the revenue at the same time, because otherwise we're just creating a pre-existing hole, and we know that we're not going to, probably not be, or there's a greater likelihood that we won't be flat. So no matter what the thinking is on increasing, I mean, we're going to have to increase a little bit just because of the minimum wage increase.
Correct.
So we know already that that's going to go up, and I am not sure, unless it's in there and I haven't figured it out, I'm not sure there's a line in there that shows me what only the increase in the minimum wage will be, unless it's this option. It says increase everyone by 0.25. Does everyone mean only the minimum wage workers or all the employees?
It meant everyone, but there is also an option just to raise the people below minimum wage.
And that would be just the cashiers.
What is that option for?
Yes.
So that's an additional $6,600?
Option 4 would be to add 25 cents to the $8.75 the workers who get paid $8.75 an hour, to bring them up to 9, and then give a 2% raise to all other positions. That would include the workers currently getting $8.90. Option 3 is to sorry, I'm just reading. Option 2 increases everybody by 2.875%. Option 4 would bring the minimum, the $8.75 people up to 9, and then a 2% raise to everybody else.
So I would just say, generally speaking, it'd be nice to give everyone increases, especially if they're doing a good job. But I think it's awfully hard to give anyone raises when we're not raising our revenue. So that would be my general observation.
Well, Mayor, I think that we have to give the minimum wage increase.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what that would do is take the people that are making minimum wage up to a level above, and you have other people then who would not be getting any kind of raise at all. So you're only raising those people,
I'm sorry,
and you have people at
12 people, I think, that would have to go up to be at the $9 level.
no,
Actually,
that's the highlighted one on the 875.
I'm sorry, not 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 people then that are making $8.93 would probably have to go up as well.
Yeah, that's then what do you do with the people making 918? So
Well,
the
they're-
question is
yeah,
to
they're
treat
still making
everybody,
more, yeah.
to treat everybody relatively equally. Everybody's got to get some kind of a raise other than the managers. And the question is what that raise should be. Either a 25-cent increase or 2%, or the percentage of the minimum wage increase is actually 2.875%. So where do you go? I don't know that we have to make that decision tonight, but
Right.
it's something to consider. And I mean, personally, I'm looking at option number 3 as possibly the most preferable one. And that would raise most everybody, but not by a huge amount.
Sure. What,
And obviously, I agree with you. If we're going to look at the budget and raise certain expense categories, then we have to figure out how to balance that with revenue increases of one kind or another. I'm not going to project what
Right.
that would be, but we have to put it into balance.
so I did also notice, on the operating capital budget page, and I don't know what page it is in the packet from tonight, but I printed it out from home.
What,
It's this page.
that would be in the back, I guess.
Debbie, this page?
41, is that right? Capital budget starts on page 41.
Well, anyway, there's a
What
notation
does it
that,
say, what page does it say?
page 1 of the operating capital budget,
Yeah, it's page 16.
page 16, okay. So there's a notation that says, what's already baked into this proposal is a 2% increase. So I think we need to run a prospective budget that doesn't have the 2% increase, you know, depending on whether it's option 1, 2, 3, or 4. But this also says 6% reduced hours, and I was wondering where that came from. Yes, well,
Absolutely.
What we had done, if you look at the revenue side of the equation, what we had done was we had used the 3 prior years prior to 2015, so that would be 2012, 2013, and 2014, as the average, if you will, to try and get to where we were. Remember, 2015 had
An
7
aberration.
extra business days, and as a result, it skewed everything. So we kind of left it out of a number of our calculations. That's where the roughly 6% hours reduction comes into play. Because we had so many extra business days in 2015, you should see a drop in hours in 2016.
In other words, you're going back to the 3-year average in hours.
Correct,
That's what the
because-
6% hours reduced
Right,
means.
because those were 102-day seasons as opposed to 109-day seasons. And that's kind of what we used as our benchmark in terms of,
so we could probably be even more precise, right? Instead of just doing the 3-year average, what we can do is do it by number of days. So we can see how many days were not only in 2015, but in 2014, 2013. Because I don't know how many days were in those years.
those were 102 days is the season. Regardless what happens, the anomaly was a particular calendar anomaly in 2015 where we happened to have a very late Labor Day that we picked up extra business days, and we had what I would call a rational Memorial Day. The very next year, 2016, and I included the calendar, by the way. You have a calendar in there. That
We're not doing an average. If we know that it's precisely 102 days, and it's always been 102 days, which that's,
correct. Well, the average,
can't
what
believe
the
it works out that way, but we can actually budget for 102 days rather than just take a 3-year average. right?
Well, the problem really becomes what we have come to do in terms of managing our labor costs. When we have bad weather, we send people home early. When we have extremely, like a day like today, if this were in the middle of June, we wouldn't open at all. So that's why the 3-year average comes into play in terms of looking at it saying, yeah, all 3 seasons are identical. They're 102 days. However, if you look at the range in labor cost, what you're seeing is there were some bad weather days. Perhaps, for example, in 2013, I would venture a guess in 2013 we had more bad weather days than we had in the other 2 years. That's why labor cost dropped so precipitously in 2013. All right, you also saw that revenue dropped in 2013. Again, that would be another indicator that bad weather just happened to, for example, coincide with
Sure.
a weekend. For example, a bad weather Saturday is much, much worse than a bad weather Tuesday or a bad weather Wednesday.
But I guess what I'm looking at the expenses, and for wages, it gives a 3-year average on the far right, but then the 2016 proposed is higher than the 3-year average, so,
Well, we're allocating the extra
the
2%
2%,
increase in
okay.
there and the adjustment for the minimum wage.
okay.
All good questions.
While I'm here, I just do want to tell you that with the help of Town Controller David Burns, we've managed to almost close out 2015. So if you look at the column that says 2015 projected actual, you'll see that it's been adjusted. We're coming in with revenues of $1,056,000, almost $1,057,000. Those are record revenues. Okay.
Is that,
That's on page 16.
okay.
Okay, and then as you come down, you'll see that our total expenses came in at 919,000, let's say 920,000. So right now, on an unaudited basis and still partially incomplete, we're showing a net operating profit of $137,000. And we're showing capital expenses of 62,925, or excuse me, 929. All in all, a record year. Again, a lot of good weather, and that extra operating week that we had. Probably will not be repeated in 2016.
But one never knows.
One never knows, is right. We did not include any of the recommended increases in the revenue side. We basically just took the revenue and forecast the revenue for a 102-day season based on, our average revenue projections. So if you, as a commission, did take action on some of the suggested revenue adjustments, you could plump up the revenue a little bit.
So, to that point, Supervisor, I do see we have some suggestions that are being resurrected from past years, suggestions that have been turned down by this commission in past years, and I would say that I would continue to not favor these suggestions that have made their way back again, including taking hand-to-hand cash from people in the dark, going into the beach on the fireworks nights, and also raising the rates for the seniors. I think those two have been declined in the past, and I would decline them again this year. Obviously, it's up to the entire board, but I would just register that and
No,
give that.
I
give that
have, I
historical
will
context.
register that with you. I'm not in favor of those either.
I think we need to make a decision. Unfortunately, the commission is not entirely present tonight, but at the last meeting, we decided that we would make a decision on the fee schedule so that we can go out to print and get the mailings out. I don't know if we can do that absent the rest of the board or the rest of the commission, but some decision has to be made. I don't think we can wait till the next meeting. It's just-
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the sooner the better. I think
We did, last year, I think we had
we did it in April last year.
we had a
March.
emergency meeting.
Right, you did
Get
it in
together
March.
in the morning because we had a shortfall on votes.
The commission can, it would put everybody on a very short leash on our side of the fence, but the commission can wait until March to make that decision. We gave you as much information as we could in the budget packet. So when you look at page 23, page 24, and even the history of the rates,
Sure.
or at least the recent history of the rates on page 25. So you have enough information there to at least mull over the kinds of opportunities you may see in terms of revenue enhancement.
Well, we could increase the rates for anyone to come into the park is what we could do.
Well, certainly.
That's recommendation number 4.
So what page number is that? Because my
Page
pages are
22,
different.
here, Joe.
22.
22, okay. Yeah, I think that would be the most equitable way to do it if we were to do it, but that's just me. And we haven't raised overall rates in a number of years, if I'm not mistaken. And you said the history of that is on what page?
That's on page 25. If you look at 25, at least some of them on your copies should be shaded in terms of the last time that rate was touched.
Sure.
All right, but if you look at the majority of the rates, I don't think we've really increased very much since 2012. I think we've been pretty stable for the last
mean,
3 years.
I think the reason, one reason why we haven't, and Benny, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, is we just didn't want to mess with the supply and demand dynamics.
Absolutely correct, Mayor.
So that's the unknown, right? So yes, we could raise them to offset the increase in the expenditures for the minimum wage, et cetera, but then we don't know what impact that will have on a number of people that still come.
There are so many unknowns.
Yeah.
Because the main unknown is the weather. And we can leave the fee schedule as it is, and we could leave and we can increase the salaries, and all else being equal, if we have really, really good weather in the summer, we're considering how much the park was in the black last year, we're probably going to end up in the black. If we have a bad weather, then we're going to be in the red again.
Yep.
So it's all weather dependent, even at the 102 days instead of 109 days.
Absolutely.
So the one decision that we need to make very soon is who gets the increases. And I think we need to look at whether or not, and I think we need all the members of the board to make this decision. I don't think that, I think we need all 6 members to determine if there should be any increase at all, and if so, how much and in what events.
And I think this is also coming to me now, and I'm sorry I didn't think of it a second ago. We kind of also try to peg ourselves to Playland, right? So I think what we need to do is learn from commission staff what Playland is doing this year for parking and for beach as well.
Right. Yes, there's a tremendous amount of triage that goes on among the public in terms of the fees, the parking fees for Playland.
Listen, I could call the assistant commissioner very easily over at the county and just ask
Thank you,
him, what their plans were.
Mhm.
Don't forget, they're in a co-management
Yep.
situation right now with Standard Amusements, and I really don't know what their plans are, or if they have made plans yet. They may be further behind than we are. So, although they have a whole amusement park to get ready, rather than just a beach. So,
Okay.
all right. We definitely need to make decisions, and we can ask for comments from the commissioners who are not here and see how they feel via email, and just and get their feelings about it.
Sure.
All right. The Rytown Park Operations Restaurant RFQ. Debbie, you went on a tour. First of all, what are the dates in it? Because my copy doesn't have the dates, and I didn't get the latest when we changed the dates. What are the dates of submission in the
The-
RFQ?
The next dates coming up, submission of written questions by March 4th. The date written questions will be answered March 11th. The RFQ submission deadline is 4 p.m. on March 18th. The top responses will be selected April 19th. Presentations by top proposers on May 17th, which is aligned with the Rytown Park Commission meeting. Selection of top proposals by June 21st, 2016.
Okay, good. So we're not in danger right now of somebody, we have an RFQ deadline, RFQ submission deadline that has not been missed. We haven't even gotten to the question period yet. You had a walkthrough. Do you want to just tell us what happened on that walkthrough? There were several attendees, including some of the mayor's senior staff.
Yes. We had, I have a copy of the RFQ here. Would you like it?
Well, I have the RFQ, I just didn't have the latest, the ones with the dates.
So we had fantastic weather on February 4th, and Bill Lawyer, Bishop Nowotnik, and I met our people who were interested in the parking lot outside of the administration building, and led 5 groups on a tour of Seaside Johnny's and the beach, and down to each of the booths and the snack bars, and through the administration building. You have a list of the people who attended. There were in your packet. It's the final page of your packet. And I would say that my co-tour guides did a splendid job. They both have a great history and are able to really showcase the park in a wonderful light.
All right, I received calls, and spoke with 3 of the people who are on this list, and I am very hopeful that we will be receiving an RFQ from all of them. I haven't spoken to the city of Rye yet, who's on this list. But I'm not going to ask your intentions in public.
You could ask, I don't think we even know, but I think that the city manager and his staff appreciated the opportunity to take the tour, so thank you.
Well, that's great. I would be surprised if we didn't get multiple responses at this point. I don't know how, don't forget, this is an RFQ, a request for qualifications, so that we're not expecting a full-blown proposal. We will have to make a decision after the last submission deadline as to how to proceed at that point with whatever responses that we've received, whether they're 1 response or 5 responses. And then we'll make the decision at that time. As I say, I am hopeful that we're going to get several responses in one form or another. So. I think that's it. Any new business?
We have an old business item?
An
Old
old business
business?
item that's not on this?
Right,
Okay.
yes, old business. I had not contacted, I was asked to, a few months back, work with Lisa Eastman to try to, I guess, rework the plan for the ramp at the middle gate, right? Or the far gate, the middle gate. I had done that, not sure whether, in light of the fact that new commission members, whether that was worthy of a rediscussion, or should I full steam ahead and do that?
I see no reason
Good.
why not.
Okay.
Joe?
Staff is ready, willing, and able?
So, Benny, you're working with Lisa to come up with a more affordable ramp plan? Is that what it is? Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
I hadn't done anything. It was back in November or October. I know Bishop was on it with me, so I said, let's see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need something that works, and right now we don't have something that works, so,
Okay,
sounds right.
good. Okay, then I'll pick up the ball from where it left off.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
There's new people from the public that showed up. Anybody want to speak on the public? No? Comments from the public? Latecomers.
Well, always welcome. Right.
I'll second the motion.
All in
adjourn?
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Oh, next month, we will be meeting in Portchester, at the courthouse in Portchester. Third Tuesday.